On this video, I want to talk about how to graph using slope-intercept form. Before I do that, I want to introduce one new concept called, or basically one new term called the y-intercept. It's basically where a line intercepts or intersects or crosses the y-axis. So if we have a line like this, where it crosses the y-axis would be the y-intercept. So this would be 0, 4 would be the y-intercept. Again, so it's simply the point where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay, I'll draw another line. I'll draw it here. Okay, my y-axis, we know, is this vertical line going up and down. That's the y-axis right there. Okay, and where does this line cross the y-axis? Well, it crosses it at 0, -4. Let's say I have a graph that goes through right there. I would say that my y-intercept is the 0.09. Again, it's simply where a line crosses the y-axis. What you'll notice is when you have a y-intercept, okay, the x value is always going to be 0 because it does not move at all left or right. What I also want to tell you is that while we represent slope with the letter M for the y-intercept, this is kind of weird, we'll use the letter B. So right here, where my slope is 0, 9, I could say that B equals 9. Okay. Right here, where my y-intercept is 0, 4, I could say that B equals 4. And here I could say that my B equals -4. Again, it's simply where the line crosses the y-axis. Now, some of you may think, well, Mr. A, is there an x-intercept? Well, sure there's an x-intercept. Okay, if I drew a line right here, okay, this is where it crosses the x, -7, 0. That will be my x-intercept. However, for the purposes that we're going to use today, we only need a y-intercept. So, what's the shortcut that I've been telling you about in class? Well, here it is. How do I graph a line without having to plot a bunch of points and a bunch of dots? What do I do? Well, let me introduce you to the slope-intercept form. Now, we've already learned what slope is, and that's represented by the letter M. We just learned what a y-intercept is, and that's represented with the letter B. We also know that an ordered pair has x, y, so let's use an equation that would add an m, b, x, and y. So here it is. I need a drum roll here. Slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Say it with me. Y equals mx plus b. This is slope-intercept form. It has a slope right here, and it has a y-intercept. So the m represents the slope, the b represents the y-intercept, and then, as I just said here, our x and our y represent the x-coordinate in an ordered pair and the y-coordinate in an ordered pair. And we know that from stuff that we've done in the past. So again, what is slope-intercept form? It is y equals mx plus b. Okay. Now, you may say, Mr. A, did we already learn this? No, we learned that the slope formula, okay, so just slope is m equals difference in the y's over differences in the x. Okay, that's the slope formula, but this is slope-intercept form. We've got our slope, our intercept, our x, and our y. Now, well, how does this help us graph? Well, I'll give you an example, and then I'll kind of tell you some of the details. I've made a big deal in class over the last couple of weeks that we always want our equation in y equals form. So we said, Mr. A, we want it in the form, let's say 2/3 x plus 7. And if you had it written y equals 7 plus 2/3 x, I said you need to swap it around. We want our x to come first because that is what we call slope-intercept form. And the reason why is, notice where the 2/3 is. It's in the slot where the m is, and the 7 is in the slot where the b is. Okay? So we would say that this equation is written in slope-intercept form. Now how would I graph? Well, the way I would graph is this. It's very simple. Instead of doing my t-table and plugging in my 3 values, I don't have to do that anymore. What I do is this. I start with the y-intercept. And it says that my b is 7. So I know that that's the ordered pair 0, 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plot that on my graph. It said this is where my graph is going to intercept this. It is going to intercept the y-axis. And the second thing I do is this. I use my slope to move to the next point. So I know that my slope is 2 over 3, which means rise over run. I go up 2 and then right 3. 1, 2, 3. I go up 2 and right 1, 2, 3. Now I could draw my line there, okay, but I'm actually not going to. What I want you to know is you can go the other direction. We know that 2 over negative 3 is the same as negative 2 over negative 3. So I could say down to left 3, down to left 3. Whoops, let's see if I can get a straight line here. Oh boy. All right. And there's my graph. Again, I plotted my y-intercept right here, and then I used my slope to move and create the other points. Up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3, down. And it's as simple as that. Let's give you another example. Let's say I say that y equals 2/5 x minus 4. Again, we always start with our y-intercept, which we're going to say that, and remember we said it's called y equals mx plus b is our slope formula. So over here, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that my slope is 2 over 5, which I get from right here. And I'm going to say that my b is negative 4, or I could say it's the ordered pair 0, negative 4. Again, so I'm going to start by plotting it where it's going to cross the y-axis. I'm going to start with the b. That's where I'm going to begin. Okay, and then it says, oh, I move using 2 over 5. So I go up 2, 1, 2, right 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up 2, 1, 2, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could also go down 2 and left 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, my line is not finished until I connect the dots. And there I have my graph. Again, we'll do a couple more examples and we'll turn you loose. Let's say I have this. Y equals 3x plus 7. Actually, say 3x plus 1. I start at the 1 because that's where it crosses the y-axis, right here. And then I have 3. So my b is 1 and my m is 3. Or I could say that it's 3 over 1, right? Because that's really over 1. So every time I go up 1, 2, 3, over 1, 1, 2, 3, over 1. I could also go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. I have my little line. Okay. What if my slope is negative? Well, notice that my first 3, they all were going up from left to right. They're all going in the upward direction. This one's going to go down. I'm going to say negative 2/3 x plus 5. So again, my b is 5, which means my y-intercept. Okay, remember that's where we said beginning of today's lesson. It's where the line crosses the y-axis right here. Okay. Whoops. All right, my b is 5, and then my m is negative 2/3. So here we go. I start plotting my y-intercept, and then my m, my slope. I'm going to go down 2 and right 1, 2, 3. Down 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I could also, okay, make that 2 over negative 3. I go up 2 and left 1, 2, 3. Up 2 and go 1, 2, and 3. And there's my graph. All right. Last thing I want to mention is this. Notice how all of our equations were y equals, y equals, y equals, y equals. Because our slope formula is y equals mx plus b. So, if you've got your thinking caps on, here's the question. What happens if my equation is written something like this? 5x plus 3y equals negative 6. Here's the answer you've been waiting to hear. Why solve for y, Mr. A? Well, here it is. It's to get it in the form y equals mx plus b so that you can easily graph your equation over here. So if your equation is written like this, we actually call this standard form. What we have to do is get y by itself, and then we graph it. So I'm going to subtract 5x, subtract 5x. So I have 3y equals negative 6 minus 5x, divide by 3, divide by 3. That's y equals negative 6 over 3 minus 5x over 3, negative 2 minus 5/3 x. And then we want to switch these two, keep the sign with it, so it's going to be y equals negative 5/3 x minus 2. I know I did that quickly, but we've been talking a lot about this in class. So now we can graph this easily because it's in slope-intercept form. We have our m here and our b here. Our m, our slope, is negative 5/3, and our b is negative 2. Let's start by plotting our y-intercept. And then negative 5 over 3, so go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. I can go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2, 3. Again, because negative 5 over 3 is the same as 5 over negative 3. And there you have it.